All right, guys, here we are, Power Hour, Thursday, August 4th. Welcome back, welcome back. 1 hour till we find out the big news on AMC Entertainment. Ticker symbol AMC, currently holding strong at $19.13. We have red on the S&P, red on the Dow. NASDAQ slightly in the green. Kind of a flat day overall in the market. Some of the monkeypox vaccine stocks are running today just for fun, since our fearless leader is going to declare a national health emergency. I went ahead and set up a new tab while we were on break to kind of encapsulate all of these, so I don't have to keep on remembering all the ticker symbols and typing them in. And I did pick up a couple of swing trade positions on some of these during the lunch break. So there's that. And let's see what else we got going on. The big runners today on these. Today, APDN, CMRX, GOVX, NNVC. Those are the four that are doing well today. I'm not saying to buy them, just saying those are doing well today, and they might tomorrow if the fearless leader, once he does his press conference, they might pick up some steam, or maybe the steam's already been picked up and they'll drop off after that. Oh, big red candle on APDN. I am not in that one. I'm in CMRX and GOVX, APDN. Let's see what just happened here. That was a big smack, a dollar in a minute. Michelle, I saw your note there. I dropped you a response. If you have any issues, let me know if I can help. Nancy, good afternoon. JJ305, good afternoon. I want to hear what you guys think. We're going to close out today. We got 1 hour to go. AMC 1918 up 5% on the day. Someone's asking, did BBIG halt? I don't know. I saw someone asking in the Discord if BBG was having some news come out. It is halted. Let me look and see if I got a halt reason over here. In the halt room, nothing updated from the bot in the Discord just yet. There you go. It's moving now. Fishkeeper says Biden just declared it as a national emergency. Let me see the news here. I need to refresh. I was reading 15 minutes ago he was going to do it some point today. The announcement will be made at 2:15 p.m. press briefing. That was an hour ago. So did he do it? I don't have my TV on, so. Daryl, what's going on? Hollywood says Hollywood does not like BBIG. Yeah, I have been out of BBIG since mid-May. Oh, it was halted for 45 minutes. Wow. For pending news. Well, what's going on here? Nothing here. Let me check the tweeter. Oh, Twitter says the halt means they're scared. We have the shorts right where we want them. I'm glad I checked that. NASDAQ announced that trading was halted for additional information requested from the company by NASDAQ. Trading will remain halted until Vinco Ventures has fully satisfied NASDAQ's request for additional information. I don't know what that means. I see people saying, what? The halt says NASDAQ halted for up to 10 days. It commonly says that. When you guys see that, don't freak out when you see a halt that says up to 10 days. They usually only last a couple minutes. Oh, Pat M says the new CEO was going to have a call with True Demon. Oh, which got canceled. Huh. Oh, yeah, sorry. It is still halted. My bad. I saw it turn green here instead of white, so I thought that the halt came off, but it does still say halt underneath it. All right, I'm going to keep on looking on Twitter. And I guess we're not going to get any information other than what it already says. They're waiting for information to be provided to NASDAQ from Vinco. If y'all see news on that, let me know, because I'm looking at other different things here. Delisting. APDN halted. Woo. I'm glad I didn't pick that one. I picked a couple over the lunch break. I have no idea why that one just dived like that. 735 down to 627. Yeah, Sam says I called out APDN. There's been a couple YouTube channels that have been calling these out for a couple weeks. Been some good plays. If you believe in monkeypox, and I honestly did not think that they were going to call it a national health emergency, but the writing started getting on the wall in the last day or so when the states and cities started doing it. So I finally relented and picked some up today. I'll probably hold them overnight. Daryl asking, did I find out when we get the MEGL shares? So Webull did answer me back. They said that in the morning was their answer. It was not more specific than that. In the morning when? Like pre-market, we'll know, an hour before the market opens. Will we know right before it goes live? That was not that specific. It just said tomorrow morning you'll know. So I'm afraid that's not much help. Mr. Johnny, I like that. BBIG halted pending positive news. For all of you that are in BBIG and need a pickup, I hope you get it. Ludwig says, could not get any MEGL on Webull. It's okay, Ludwig. Just get it set up for next time. You'll be able to buy it on any broker tomorrow. Mullen CEO did an interview on Benzinga. Price is tanking. The guy doesn't interview very well. Gosh, down 6.5%. Well, I wish better luck to Dr. Garrett tonight with Pantheon and Boss Blunts at 4 p.m. I'm sure, if that was going to be a train wreck, they would not have published it. So I think it'll be good. What dollar amount will MEGL open at? Going to depend on demand in the morning. Alan says MEGL is picking up traction. Are you hearing about it more places? Paul asking, do we have to hold MEGL for a period of time? If you get a allocation from Webull, you do not have to hold it. You can sell it at any time. However, they told me that if you sell it in less than 30 days, they may not prioritize you for future IPO requests. So if you do a lot of pre-IPO buys on Webull, keep that in mind. If this is your one and only, probably won't matter much to you. Just sell it when you want. Who was it that promoted BBIG? I don't know. Was True Demon pushing BBIG? A lot of people were pushing it. I don't want to go down the list of names. There were people that I think were misunderstanding what happens when a spinoff happens, that you remove value from a company. The CryptoTide spinoff, it was destined to destroy the price of BBIG. I rarely see spinoffs where the parent company price goes up after you take value and assets out of the company. But for some reason, people thought that was going to moon BBIG. And based on them thinking that, I bought some calls and rode them all the way up till the day before the spinoff ex-dividend date, or whatever you want to call it, May 18th. I sold those calls and announced it here and all of my thoughts many times. But of course, I just get rocks thrown at me. Steve asking, do I listen to Kevin Free From It All? I know who he is, Steve. Yeah, he's him and some others, as far as I know, have been calling out some of these monkeypox vaccines for a few days or a few weeks. Why did APDN drop? I don't know. How did it drop from 735 to 626 before it's halted? So 721 to 626. $721 minus 10%, 648. Yeah, you would think that it would be halted at 648, right? I don't know. Corey says, you mean like the MMAT group are thinking about the next bridge spin out? Is that what's going on with MMAT? I'm not following MMAT. I mean, I have it on my watch list for pump and dump plays. If people are buying it up, I'll go buy it for a few minutes. But same logic for me as BBIG. If MMAT's running, I'll hold it for a few minutes. Danny says the name the rocks and make pets out of them. What's my take on MEGL? G-Man, I have some money requested through Webull to get an allocation on MEGL. I hope I get some. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm hoping for the best. One that I want you guys to look at just for fun. OST. Here was an IPO that came out a few months ago. An Asian finance company. IPO, $10, ran up 890% in the first day. Headlines: OST soars 890%. This is a real headline. You can go find it on Google. OST soars 890%, cementing the demand for Chinese IPOs. And then the next day, completely sold off. So bear that in mind. I don't know. You contrast this to HKD. We're going to fall somewhere in between. No idea what's going to happen. Literally anything can happen. But, you know, if you could make 890% in a day, would you be sad if it sold off the next day? I have, you know, it could open flat and stay flat for days, guys. I'm just going to play it by ears. Play it by ear. Am I going to stream Boss Blunt's interview? I don't know, you know, because of copyright audio plug, if I'm allowed to do that. Maybe if one of them came in the chat and said they give me permission to show their interview while we're waiting for Adam Aaron to come on. Blazin says, I'm going in MEGL with a small amount and a loose stop. Then if we get upward momentum, I'm doubling down and setting a trailing stop. That sounds reasonable. I'm kind of doing the same thing. I put a small amount of money for the pre-IPO. I'll hope that I get some, and then I'm going to wait. And if I'm going to add any more money in it, I'm going to watch the momentum on that day. Let's see if we look at the daily on OST. Not the daily, but like a 5-minute way back in the beginning. So it looks like it went live at 10:30. That's what I was saying. Tomorrow morning, expect MEGL to start trading around 10:30. And then it steadily went up throughout the day. And then the next day it sold off completely and went lower than the opening. The other option, like HKD, this one started at $13 and it took a few days to get going. 13, and then it went to 20, then it went to 30, then it dropped. Then it stayed at 13 to 17 for a few days. It took a good week or so to get going. And then it rocket shipped. So when you're comparing something like OST to this, how do you predict what it's going to do? Like, man, what if you wouldn't you feel like shit if you sold HKD for $30 and like, I'm done. And then a couple days later, out of nowhere, it just freaking launches. I don't know, guys. That's why I'm not giving any pricing predictions on MEGL, because it literally anything could happen. 19.25 on AMC. 40 minutes to go. Thank you, Edward. I appreciate you, buddy. Posted the chat in your AMC stock group with 11,000 members. Thank you. Hopefully a few of them are joining in, and welcome. Colin, is MEGL going to be on the German stock market? I doubt it, Colin, because you would need to set up, they'd need to set up a depository receipt over there or file for listing in Germany. I haven't checked with the company to see if they did that or if they plan to do that. Ludwig, didn't we discuss this morning? Since HKD ran from 14 to 2,000, could AMC easily pass 2,000? These are not the same plays. Not the same plays, guys. HKD was a low float stock with no short interest and no options chain. 20 million shares versus 516 million shares. You cannot compare them. Also, the run up after about $300 on HKD was the trading volume was like one share, one share, one share. This was not a high volume trading situation like what happened when AMC and GameStop were turning over 25 times the float. That was not the case. So no, I can't compare them in any way. I can't make any predictions what AMC could do off of HKD. It's literally like comparing a banana to an apple. Apex Custom E-Trade says MEGL is halted. Yeah, it's not open yet. It won't even start trading till tomorrow. Brovoy says Teddy is going all in on MEGL. If he does, I wish him and all of us the best of luck. I hope he makes $1 million. BBD, hey Tony, can you give me an exact date, time, and price for XYZ? I do my best, but I do have the crystal ball right here. I'm going to have to send it out for repair because it's just a little hazy. Hollywood says, I'd be sick if I sold HKD at $30 and then watched it to run up to 2,500. Yeah, I would too. Any leaks on AMC earnings? Someone came in the chat earlier and tried to say there was leaks about AMC, but I didn't find any. And they didn't provide any backup. So BBIG still halted. We'll see what's up with that in a bit. 1907, AMC coming down. What does everyone think of win pounds? Dario D wants to know. Pam, tomorrow it's going to be the battle of Amy and Meg. Just imagine the boyfriend with the two girls. Which one's going to be the one saying, and which one's going to be the hot chick? Will AMC be the hot chick or will Meg be the hot chick? How funny, Blazin says, would it be if AMC's crypto coin ticker turned out to be Amy instead of Pop? That would be awesome. Is Amy available as a crypto token name? Amy Coin. Diaz, what's up? Javi, Pam, everybody in the house. Thank you guys for stopping in. Monkeypox was declared. I declare a monkeypox. It was declared officially a public health hazard, public health emergency today by Senor Biden. El Presidente. No FOMO, bro. Javi, I love you. No FOMO. We were watching, has anybody watched the new season of American Horror Stories? Stories, the plural, the one where it's a different show every episode. The one where it's these 4 social media influencers that just have a train wreck of what is sensible and what their audience is going to like. They're like the four Jersey Shore brothers living in a mansion in California. At some point, their image got so bad they decided to really change it up. Guys, we're gonna have to do something different. That reminded me when I was reading Javi's no FOMO, bro. Man, your pecs are looking tight. Lift those weights. No FOMO. Lou claims Hycroft found lots of lithium. Awesome. I guess we'll find out from Diane in about 1 hour. Sorry, Dr. Diane. Yeah, Pop is taken. Popcoin, AMC, just about anything related to movies or popcorn is all taken. I already checked all that. I still called my version of it Popcoin, though, just because it sounds funny. Put the Discord general chat up on the screen, Tony. There may be a meme of relevance in there. All right, let me see what we got. Someone in the Discord saying APDN halted you motherfuckers. Is that what we're... Elmo? General chat. Okay, general chat. Here we go. Yeah. HKD and MEGL apes AMC. It has been like that in some channels. My buddy up on the Jersey Shore, he was kind of like the girl on the far right. How dare you look at another ticker? How dare you, Teddy Zane? That's Teddy Zane looking and whistling. Ape Father on the far right. Meg on the left in the red shirt. We love you, Richie. Just having fun. Did he really, did my friend in the park really say that Hycroft found lithium? I mean, there was rumors and hopes and dreams on Reddit for a while. What if there was lithium? What if there was nickel in them there hills? But I haven't seen any evidence of that. I don't know. I haven't been following Hycroft that close. Once I did all the reading of what they have, I'm like, I'll check back in with them in a couple years. Eric Bissell says, Tony, I love you. Lots of FOMO, bro. Thank you, Eric. Ludwig, what? I'm not sure what you mean. No GME anymore. GME is right here on the left screen. If you mean, do I own GME? Yes. I bought back in a couple days ago. GME chart showed a clear reversal. It did not go down as far as I was worried about it doing. If you remember my little technical analysis a week or 10 days ago, I was concerned when we did not go through this resistance bar right here, started coming down after the split. So I sold. I said I'd target buy-in right about here at 28 if we got that far. We didn't get that far, which is great. I waited a couple days for the reversal to be confirmed, and I bought back in 2 days ago. So I am back in now with more shares than before and riding the wave back up with you guys. I was never leaving GameStop. I was just taking a temporary absence to lock in some gains and rebuy more shares at a later date. If you can't beat them at their own game. Them being the hedge funds. George Triple Sev says, I mentioned many times on your stream costs. Whoever bought in May and sold in July 25th made over 220%. That is a great story. I did not buy cost, but let's see what it looks like. May. $5 you could have bought for on May 11th. And you could have sold for $12. Yeah, that is beautiful. Even today, you know, $8.98. 5 gets you 9. That's a very healthy return. In a couple months, you are beating most of Wall Street, let me assure you. There's just only so many tickers I can buy in any given week. And I try and compartmentalize my risk. I got enough meme stocks. I can't own all of them. Baba's been moving the past couple days. Yeah, Danny, I'm considering doing a review on my decision to get out of all Chinese stocks. I've been out of them for a year now.
Love Teddy, I watch him daily, but man, it would be really unwise to put his whole portfolio in one play like this, regardless of much he believes in it.
Hollywood, I agree. I wonder if he's serious. Teddy Zane, is he serious that he's going to put everything in MEGL? It'll either be the greatest move in history, he will become a internet legend, or well, I don't want to say the other alternative. So I got out of all my Chinese stocks, including Baba, which I did own back here in July. Made some videos. I've made three Chinese stocks videos since July of 2021. Since then, it dropped from $221 down to $73. Currently hanging at 97. My base case for getting out of them was the Holding Foreign Companies Accountable Act. Holding Foreign Companies, HFCAA. So if you're thinking about buying Chinese stocks and you don't know what that is, go watch one or all three of those videos. And it's still in play. That concern, that risk is still in play, which is why I think these are being held down. Any one of these companies could be delisted from the U.S. stock exchange. And then what do you got? But, I mean, it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow. It's just this risk is looming and the calendar is ticking. They got to make some decisions here. And I did see that China was figuring out, all right, which ones do we want to come clean on with the books? And which ones are we just going to say, delist us? They're thinking about it. And there will be some decisions made. Is Teddy Zane the guy in Titanic? What is that dude's name? He reminds me of a young Thurston the Hell. Thurston the Hell. Thurston Hell. Titanic. Billy Zane. That's Teddy's older brother. Billy Zane. Someone said, C Hill, when will he be the next Not a Cat? I hope he doesn't have a let's go, MEGL to the moon. Look, I know a lot of you are in it, and so am I. I've got a fair amount of money for not knowing shit about a company. For me, that I've got a fair amount of money on it. Not know $100,000. I won't lose any sleep if I lose that money. And it's certainly not going to zero, but some of these IPOs do drop. They drop fast. Let's just hope this isn't one of them. Let's hope it's the opposite. Was Billy Zane the bad guy in Dead Calm? He was also in that movie with wasn't he Oh, no, that was that other British actor. I was thinking the one where it was the little robot boy. That lived until the future, surviving under the ocean for millennia. Cape Fear, I need to go back and watch that. It's been a while. Cape Fear, Dead Calm. Blazin says, what kind of resiliency do you foresee yourself having if things go sideways? If things go sideways or slightly down for MEGL, I put an amount in it, Blazin, that I'm not going to worry if it goes down. Look, the amount I put in it, I'm willing to write off, right? Because I don't want to pull the trigger too early. If we look at a HKD, and you look at this chart right here, it took it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days to really get moving. And there was some volatility in those 9 days. On the other hand, if it runs up, Blazin, to 900% on day one, I will be taking some off the table. If it runs down, if MEGL goes down after the open, I'm just going to be like, well, that was a fuck up. Hopefully in the next 9 days, the buying pressure from the boys in the Hong Kong club come to bear. I don't know. What do you think? Jim says, what is the news going to be for AMC, for Amy? I'm going to say, guys, the news that we're needing today, first and foremost, is to see an increase in revenue above Q4 and better earnings per share than what the analysts are estimating. That would be my minimum acceptable out of today. Adam did not say that he was making any other announcement today. I'm not going to be disappointed if there's no pounce today. And I don't want you to be either. He said after Q2, we're already a month into Q3. So you've been able to be patient till now. If there's no announcement today, I think we can live a few more weeks into Q3 and give him that. But logically, today seems like a good day to make an announcement. I get it. And I agree. And I hope there is. Billy Zane was also in a superhero movie called The Phantom, playing the Phantom. Biden just declared monkeypox. I declare monkeypox. And then why is QNRX diving? VRAX diving. APDN diving. What happened? NMVC and GovX holding up okay. Dark pool 55.78%. Thank you, Dev. That sounds about on the average for AMC. Y'all need to call Teddy Zane up and tell him to stop buying on Robinhood. It would be nice to see positive cash flow too, Riakan says. Where's Sufyan or Steven? I haven't even looked at the cash flow on AMC. Under manager says my ex-wife starred in the dead clam. Oh man, you had me. You got me. Yes, DD 2214 reminder. Adam Aaron never said the pounce would be during the earnings. Let's not overhype ourselves. Let's not get disappointed if it's not today. I will not be disappointed. What I would be disappointed by is if the pounce is announced today and it's something that's like a wet rag, you know, something that is not pounce worthy. I don't know why everything's diving. The SPY's going down, AMC's going down. QNRX is going down. Let's look at QNRX. On this is the hourly. Nice run up. I'm not in this play. The run up really was what, yesterday, right? And today it's just been kind of treading water but declining volume. So that's kind of your warning sign. But there have been other plays that do that, and then all of a sudden, out of frickin' nowhere, or when news comes, they jet back up. So I can never say for sure that the play's over. ANPD. Frickin' frick. APDN. That's what I want. This chart right here. Here is the second, and then here on the third, we got declining candles and declining volume. I would look at that and say this play is done. But then for some reason today, probably because of the news, a news can always be your Hail Mary. News comes in that the Biden administration is going to declare monkeypox. And all of a sudden, the thing shoots back up. Same thing happened to Tough Built, right? It was on a decline. Then they got the news about Ace Hardware. And it saved, at least temporarily, the decline. So sometimes those things happen. The Hail Mary. And the pass is complete. Touchdown. Kimbo. Michael's asking, do I know anything about ESB? I do not. Taffamy talking about job numbers. Yeah, I read that report on the jobs today, and then I just went on about my day. I didn't even bother to report it to you guys. Jeff, you never know, QNRX. I'm not sure why it's diving right now, but you never know with these things. If it hits an appropriate QNRX, if it hits an appropriate support point, it could still bounce. But just like I was looking on APDN or whatever APDN. Declining candles, declining volume. APDN was doing that yesterday, and then some news came out and shot it back up. So you never know. But typically for me, I'm getting out when I see this. AMC under additional pressure. Now they're trying to short it down, or now the day traders that were in this for the run up, the buy the rumor, they're exiting their positions. That's all it is. Billy Zane was in Memphis Belle. Is that the war movie? A.T.? If that's the one we're talking about, Memphis Belle, that was a fantastic movie. Yeah, I mean, this could be shorting, but also more than likely it's swing traders that have been in the play for the week, riding it up until earnings, closing out their positions also. A little bit of both. Once the momentum turns, you guys, if you do day trading, you know how it is. The momentum, just like day traders are playing the momentum when stuff is going up, your day trading YouTube buddies who short stuff are piling on more and more shorts the faster it goes down. It's how it is, guys. It's not all just Citadel and Susquehanna. Go yell at Patrick Whelan. Garrett says, just got here. Did you do your own numbers on AMC? I did. This weekend, I put out a video this past weekend. So my estimate was a earnings beat at, what did I say, guys? Negative 19 cents. And maybe as high as negative 13. It depends on if I calculated the impact of Hycroft mining correctly or incorrectly. It also depends on my estimate for revenue. So if my revenue number is off, automatically my earnings is going to be off. But every quarter that goes by, I get to have more data points and refine that model. So if we're still here talking about this a year from now, I should be able to nail it every quarter. Man, a lot of people talking about lithium for Hycroft. I can only imagine where that shit's coming from. Must be an official Hycroft announcement, right? Surely it's on the newswire. Hycroft lithium. Huh. Well, that's odd. Nothing. Don't tell me. Is this a trust me bro trick? Is this a squirrel whispering in the park trick? Lithium and Hycroft. Are the squirrels talking to somebody again? Quack, 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 quack. Somebody needs to back off on their meds and quit making videos. Is BBIG unhalted yet? Someone wants to know. BBIG? Still halted. BBIG is halted, waiting on Venco Ventures to provide requested information to NASDAQ. What could the drama be, you guys? What are they holding back? Mullen, for our Mullen maniacs. CEO had an interview today. Apparently that did not go so swell. Surprise! Down 9%. I'm going to go watch that right after I watch Diane Garrett, CEO of Hycroft, right after we watch Adam Aaron and the boys. If we hit 20 today, we are taking some shots. How about that? If we hit 21, we're taking more shots. If we hit 22, we're taking more shots. That's right. Angelina, what's up? How you doing? What time is the call? The webcast with AMC. We'll be showing it here. Will be 1 hour after the market closes. So you're free to hang out have some drinks. If you're at a real bar, just order the top shelf and send the bill to my secretary. Drinks today are on me. Just get the receipt to my secretary. We will take care of you today. Garrett says, how can AMC revenue only be around 1.18 billion? I don't know. Who forecast that? I think my forecast was 1.3 something. Q4 was around 1.18. Am I going to listen to the earnings call? Yeah, we're going to live stream it right here. Shot. Oh, Taffamy had the rare version, the collector's edition, Edward Penis Hands. Was Billy Zane in that one too? Ken asking, why didn't HKD have any halts? Have you looked at the halt history, Ken? We have a bot in our Discord that lists all the halts, and it was going nonstop halts on HKD. You can go to the exchange and look up the halt reports too. Don't just believe everything you read, please, guys. We got to get back to doing our own fact checking before we take people at their word. Everybody wants to just put out bullshit to create drama and emotion in this community, unfortunately. And I know you guys want to believe it, but I'm just begging you, please, don't believe everything you read. It's easy to go check stuff like that. And if someone is putting out misinformation like that, you should go call them out on it. Steve Dom Perignon just ordered on my tab. Enjoy, Steve. Thank you. You are welcome. What are my tequila shot brackets for earnings call price? Okay, here's the deal. $20 and $21, I'll do a shot. If I nail the EPS exactly at negative 19 cents, I'll do a shot. If we beat negative 19, no, if we beat negative 13 cents, I'll do a shot. Are you writing this down? This is getting complicated. And all that being said, after the run-up of this week, I'm just praying that it's not a buy the rumor, sell the news type bullshit. Karen, way ahead of me. Thoughts on HYMC, Jason? I did a video back on it in March. My thoughts have not changed. Go watch that video. Do a follow-up with the video from Pantheon or Boss Blunts today at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Eastern. You can watch that anytime on their channel after that interview with the CEO. So my initial thoughts were wait. Don't rush to buy it. You can get it cheaper than $3. Wait for $1 or less. So I just recently bought Highcroft. If it drops in the next year to 50 cents, I will buy more. And I'm not expecting anything out of Highcroft until 2024. And I think if you have that mindset, you will survive the next 2 years with much more of your sanity intact than listening to the people on Twitter every day saying, Highcroft to the moon. We're pulling exactly 0 gold out of the ground, but this fucker's gonna moon. Highcroft's mining operations after the exploration will be 2024. So you got to just read the reports from the company. It's not hard to understand what the plan is.
Report. You can make one really quick.
Bingo card for earnings. You can make one really quick. Oh man, I don't want to get hammered by a life. Yes, Carl J., I like the way you think. Buy the rumor, buy the news. Adam Aaron to be on Fox Business News tomorrow at 3 p.m. Then that's bullish to me. I don't know. What do y'all think about bingo card for bingo card for earnings? Amy's saying, what is your price for getting back in GME? I'm already back in GME. A couple days ago, I got back in. I was just waiting for a trend reversal confirmation, and we got that on the daily chart. So I've been back in. And the good thing about selling and buying back cheaper is now I own more shares than I did a week ago. AMC has announced today it has declared a special dividend of one AMC preferred equity unit. Is that for real? AMC has announced today that it has declared, I'm trying to get this where we can still watch the stock price. AMC has declared a special dividend of one AMC preferred equity unit for each share of AMC class stock, par value 1 cent per share, outstanding at the close of business. The special dividend is expected to be paid at the close of business. The dividend of AMC preferred equity units exclusively to our shareholders, in our opinion, is perhaps the single biggest action we will take in all of 22 to fundamentally strengthen AMC for the long term. The record date for the preferred equity unit is the close of business on August 15th. However, it is expected to be paid as of the close of business on August 19th. NYSE has established August 22nd as the ex-dividend date. Well, that's weird. The ex-dividend date should be before the payout date. If an investor sells common stock before the ex-dividend date of August 22nd, you will not be entitled to the preferred equity unit. Alternatively, if you buy stock before August 22nd, you will be entitled to receive the preferred equity unit dividend on the shares purchased. Trading of the preferred equity units will commence on August 22nd. So they're tradable. That means that someone could get their hands on them. Investors should note that on the ex-dividend date, the price of AMC is likely to decline to reflect the fact that the shares purchased on or after that date will no longer be entitled to a dividend. That's normal. But, I mean, if a cash dividend were issued, for example, that was worth 50 cents a share, it is normal for the price of the stock to decline by 50 cents. But these preferred equity units have no real value. 1/100th the price of a share of stock, if I recall correctly. AMC Entertainment Holdings reports second quarter earnings. All right, let's look at this. I'll put it in the window for you guys. Total revenues grew to 1166. Is this correct?
Just like to shorten it down, brother.
That is too low. 1166. Let me pull up my spreadsheet. I had forecast 1357 and it came in at 1166. That's a $200 million miss. That is lower than Q4. Well, that's why the stock's going down. There's no way that Q2, with the numbers that we had on international box office should have been less than Q4. Net loss, 121 million. Adjusted EBITDA, yada, yada, yada. Where's the EPS? 24 cents negative. Shit. Last quarter, Q4, we were 26 cents negative. So we did get better than Q4, obviously better than Q1. But there's something here we're going to need to dig into. Why was the revenue so low? That is what made these numbers not as good as I was hoping. Based on the box office numbers being much higher than Q4, we should have done more than 1166. How about Top Gun? Guys, it's not about one movie that did good or a couple movies that did bad. It's about total box office. Okay? The reason I made my video this weekend is too many people were focusing on Top Gun. You cannot look at one movie's success and say that's going to be a blowout quarter. The fact of the matter is total box office numbers is what drives revenue to the company, not one movie. And the total box office numbers were just slightly higher than Q4. So the realistic expectation is we would come in very close to Q4. And in fact, we did 2 cents. 2 cents better than Q4 on earnings per share, but lower on income, 1166. I cannot believe that. 5 million less than Q4. I'm going to need to dig into the income statement to see exactly what happened. The event lobby will open in 13 minutes. I'm going to put this up in the small
Lower
screen here.
earnings has to be one-time charge some investment, structuring out preferred shares, IDK. The fact preferred equity is ape means CEO Adam did this only to help us, hence his bold.
KN Squared says lower earnings has to be one-time charge regarding some investment. I'm not as worried about the earnings as the income, the income. So that's I need to look at the income statement. And that's what I'm trying to find. Hang on. I'm going to find it.
Appreciate you, Tony.
I'm sure it's already filed with the SEC. Just give me a second to pull it up. You know, we'll pull it up and look at it. This is something about this is the preferred dividend bullshit. All right, we're going to need to read that too, but let's look at this 10Q. All right, and just for fun, on my other screen, I'm going to compare this to Q. Let's compare it to last quarter. All right, and just for other fun, I'm going to pull up on one more screen Q4 because that was very similar in box office numbers. Q4 would have been the 10K on about March. Q4. All right, first I'm going to compare to last quarter. Admissions, food and beverage, other theater, film exhibition costs. I'm just looking for what's different. Operating expense, rent, general administrative, depreciation, $651. The ratios look okay here. This is just low to me compared to what the box office was. Other expenses. Other expense, income, investment income. All right, so I was correct here. This right here is Hycroft Mining. It cost us $57 million in losses. If you look at last quarter, when it was income, you'll notice it was a $63 million gain. It's in parentheses. I know this is weird, but notice here it says income in parentheses. Last quarter, AMC realized $63 million from Hycroft profit that reduced expenses. This quarter, Hycroft cost us $57 million. So that alone is a massive hit to the earnings per share. Hycroft fucked us. But the other thing that really screwed us is total revenues being only $1176. Let me look one more time and see if I can find the Q4 numbers. Just for comparison, in Q4, which was a really good quarter, as you guys remember, but box office in Q4 was less than this quarter. Q4, we had admissions $666 million. We had less in admissions with Top Gun and everything that everybody was counting on, less in admissions in Q2 than we did in Q4. We had more in food and beverage, $396 million versus $380. This number I was counting on to be much higher. And I know you guys were too. How was our revenue so low, knowing that how good the total box office was for Q2? This is what we need answers to. Wait, so Tony, you're confused by this too? Yeah, man. All of these legal documents, guys, I did not work in the finance world. I did not work on Wall Street. I can understand them, but some of them take me a few times to read through, and sometimes I need to look stuff up. So I can figure them out, but if I haven't seen it before, yes, I'm often start as confused as you guys do.
This webcast is being recorded and a replay will be available in the investor relations section of our website at amctheaters.com later today. With that, I'll turn the call over to Adam.
Thank you, John.
Tony,
Good
I got in the
afternoon,
play
one and
because
all.
of the movement and I will
thank
stick
you for
it.
joining us.
Moon or nothing, I don't care.
Today, we have tremendously exciting news to share with you. First, our results for the second quarter, which were massively ahead of last year's second quarter and exceeded market expectations for revenues, adjusted EBITDA, and net income. And second, our plan to issue later this month a special AMC preferred equity, non-dilutive stock dividend, as it will all be going, and only be going, to our shareholder base as of the dividend date. This is a move that fundamentally and deeply strengthens our company and will give us enormous flexibility as we go forward. These are exciting times for AMC and for our investors. I'll start this webcast by talking about the business. I'll then pass the call over to Sean Goodman, our CFO, to talk about our financials in more detail. And then I'll come back to talk about our special dividend announcement and the significant benefits that it brings for our shareholders. I cannot begin to put into words how much progress AMC Entertainment made in the second quarter of 2022. Thank you to Dr. Stephen Strange, to Tom Maverick Cruise, to Elvis Presley, and to all those hungry people-eating Jurassic dinosaurs. Because they all graced our big screens at AMC, the second quarter was quite the success and our best second quarter in 3 years. What's more, and this is very important, they boosted Hollywood's confidence in theatrical exhibition, and they boosted Hollywood's commitment to theatrical exhibition. Just as we predicted, our improving second quarter results boost our spirits and serve to further convince that we indeed are making great strides on our path towards pandemic recovery. As you can see in our press release, AMC exceeded expectations as people came back to movie theaters in droves. Some 59 million moviegoers came to our AMC theaters across the world in the second quarter, up 168% from the same quarter a year ago. That's more than 2.5 times. They're taking us to new highs in our high-margin food and beverage business. And thanks to their patronage, we generated positive adjusted EBITDA of $107 million in the second quarter of 2022, of $52 million. That was a $178 million improvement from the figure of the same quarter a year ago. The second quarter marked the strongest North American box office since 2019. Numerous films shined brightly in the second quarter, but none shined brighter than Top Gun Maverick. I've seen it myself 4 times now. Top Gun Maverick is now approaching $1.3 billion in worldwide box office receipts and holds the #1 box office position thus far in 2022. Maverick also broke all-time records by becoming the highest-grossing movie of all time to open on Memorial Day weekend. It also is becoming the highest-grossing movie ever, both for Paramount Pictures and for a movie starring Tom Cruise. I have said all along that people would come back to theaters in eye-popping numbers, and that is exactly what they did in the second quarter of 2022.
Tony,
and what they've been doing
hosting the
since.
call. Appreciate your
To the
time and
naysayers,
effort.
who foolishly, in our opinion, have been predicting a secular decline of theatrical exhibition, all I can say is, well, you've seen my feisty hashtags on Twitter. You know what I say. The second half of this year promises to be equally exciting, with a great mix of family-friendly horror, action, drama, and comedy genres to please everyone, from young to old, including Warner Brothers DC Comics-based Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and 3 Disney films, including the animated Strange World, and 2 very highly anticipated tentpole Disney sequels, James Cameron's Avatar 2, The Way of Water, and Marvel's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Just last week, the powerful and poignant trailer for Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever, was released and garnered a staggering 172 million views of the trailer in just the first 24 hours, becoming one of Marvel Cinematic Universe's top ever trailer debuts. As Nicole Kidman reminds us in AMC's now iconic and revered advertising campaign, given that Hollywood has great stories to tell, it's clear that movie fans are ever so eager to enjoy those dazzling images on AMC's huge silver screens. And speaking of Nicole, our ad campaign was so effective that we signed her to be our spokesperson for another full year. The success of the second quarter has continued into the start of the third quarter. As but 2 examples of let the good times roll, attendance in the just completed month of July 2022 saw the highest number of guests visit AMC's U.S. theaters since December of 2019. And our preliminary July food and beverage revenue numbers appear to be the biggest single-month figure at our U.S. theaters in our company's entire 102-year history. For full transparency, there is a dearth of new big movie titles being released in August and September. So things will slow for several weeks. Don't expect too much of us for all of Q3. But then comes the fourth quarter of 2022. Talk about star power showing itself in movie theaters. These movies and more will all grace our screens in just the 13 weeks of the fourth quarter of 2022. Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween Ends, Julia Roberts and George Clooney in Ticket to Paradise, Dwayne Johnson, Pierce Brosnan, and Viola Davis in Black Adam, Jessica Chastain, Anne Hathaway, and Sir Anthony Hopkins in Armageddon Time, Margot Robbie, Christian Bale, and Robert De Niro in Amsterdam, Tom Hanks in A Man Called Otto, Brad Pitt and Margot Robbie in Babylon. Oh, and don't forget the ever so much anticipated sequels to Black Panther, Shazam, and Avatar. So too, the movie slate for calendar year 2023 should also make us all smile. Our current internal forecast is that the 2023 domestic box office, the basic metric suggesting the health of theatrical exhibition, both in the U.S. and globally, is likely to be billions of dollars larger than that of calendar year 22. Billions of dollars ahead. We look forward to Q4 of 2022, and we look forward to calendar year 2023 with absolute glee. There were other strides forward made at AMC in the recent months since our last quarterly call. We've started the installation of the biggest environmentally friendly green initiative in our company's history, with the introduction of laser projection technology coming over the next few years to almost half of our U.S. screens. And laser projection will make the pictures on those screens so much brighter and so much sharper that it's certain to excite movie buffs going forward. We're already in test market in Chicago and Kansas City with our partner, Uber Eats, for home delivery of AMC Perfectly Popcorn and other concession items from our theaters. The early results are favorable, so we expect to roll out nationally in Q4 of this year. Similarly, recipe development for microwavable and ready-to-eat popcorn is well underway, going extremely well, and we look forward to being able to sell our popcorn products in grocery stores and/or convenience stores next year. We're also in active dialogue with a credit card issuer and hope to introduce a co-branded AMC credit card that can be launched nationally in early 2023 or possibly as early as late 2022. And at the specific urging of our shareholders, we are stepping up our game mightily on AMC branded and movie branded merchandise. As for Hycroft Mining, Hycroft just announced its largest exploration program in about a decade. Remember that heretofore, Hycroft has explored only about 2% of its 71,000-acre mine site. We have every confidence that our Hycroft investment will pan out, excusing the pun, to be quite lucrative for AMC. Speaking of investments, our board of directors also has authorized us to establish a fund of up to $100 million for additional transformative investments where AMC can seek to add value and thereby create meaningful additional value for our shareholders. Indeed, as I've often said previously, we are absolutely committed to transforming AMC into a bigger, bolder, stronger, and more successful company than even the one that existed prior to the pandemic. With that said, I'll now turn the call over to Sean to discuss our financials in more detail. Sean?
Here's where the stock price goes down when Sean starts talking.
Just wonderful.
There's a little lag in this thing, I think. That's not
Can you
me.
begin?
All right.
Yeah.
He's good.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. As Adam said, Q2 was a terrific quarter for us. We welcomed 59 million guests to our theaters around the world, and this is well ahead of the 22 million guests that we entertained during last year's second quarter and the 39 million guests that visited us in the first quarter of 2022. This attendance resulted in revenue of $1.17 billion. This is more than 2.5 times the $445 million of revenue we had in Q2 of 2021, and it's almost 50% ahead of the $786 million of revenue that we recorded in the first quarter of this year. But even more importantly, we achieved positive adjusted EBITDA of $107 million, a very meaningful improvement over the EBITDA loss recorded in both the prior year's second quarter and also the first quarter of this year. Our financial results clearly reflect the ongoing recovery of the industry and our business. As has been our practice during the recovery period, we believe that it's helpful to look at our financial performance metrics relative to pre-pandemic levels to best benchmark the dynamics and profitability of the business as our recovery progresses. This analysis shows that our per-guest performance metrics during the second quarter were universally, substantially superior to pre-pandemic levels in 2019. For Q2 of 2022, on a consolidated basis, total revenue per patron was $19.73. This is 27% higher than Q2 of 2019. This was driven by admissions revenue per patron growth of 19% and food and beverage revenue per patron growth of 32% and other revenue growth per patron of 65%. This is all compared to the second quarter of 2019. In the domestic business, admissions revenue per patron increased by 22% compared to Q2 2019, and in our international business, the increase was 12%. And when we normalize for the strengthening of the US dollar compared to 2019, international admissions revenue per patron increased 16%, measured in constant currency. The admissions revenue per patron growth was driven by guests choosing to upgrade to the very best possible sight and sound experiences that are found at our premium large format offerings, such as IMAX, Dolby Cinema, and AMC Prime. Premium large format attendance represented 15.6% of domestic attendance in Q2, and this can be compared to 10.9% in the second quarter of 2019. And in our international markets, Q2 2022 premium large format attendance represented 10.4%, and this compares to 6.4% in the second quarter of 2019. In addition, the second quarter admissions revenue benefited from an overall favorable showtime mix, coupled with pricing adjustments, including blockbuster and opening weekend pricing. From a food and beverage perspective, we enjoyed extremely strong food and beverage revenue per patron as our guests continued to participate in the full in-theater entertainment experience. In our domestic markets, food and beverage spend per patron in the second quarter was $7.52. That is 35% higher than the average spend in pre-pandemic Q2 2019. And in the international business, food and beverage spend per patron was $4.43. That's 22% higher than Q2 of 2019 and 26% higher on a constant currency basis. Our significant food and beverage outperformance continues to be primarily driven by an increase in the proportion of guests choosing to enjoy our industry-leading food and beverage offerings, combined with them purchasing more items per each order, and both of which are made easy and convenient through our AMC apps. Compared to the second quarter of 2019, domestic other revenue per patron increased by 65%, and international other revenue per patron increased by 63% and 69% in constant currency. This reflects an increasingly higher percentage of guests choosing to reserve their seats and order their food and beverage using our industry-leading websites and apps, together with the benefit of growth and diversification initiatives such as renting out our theaters during off-peak times and revenue from various promotional and marketing initiatives. During the recovery period, we have been very agile in adjusting our payroll hours and flexing showtimes to reflect market demand and optimize efficiency. Our Q2 domestic attendance represented 60.5% of Q2 2019 attendance, but 85% of Q2 2019's attendance per showing. Let's move to cash and liquidity. We ended the quarter with a strong liquidity position of approximately $1.18 billion, comprised of $965 million of cash and cash equivalents and $211 million of undrawn credit facilities. The strong results for the quarter led to non-GAAP operating cash generated of $52 million. That's operating cash generated. This is a $178 million improvement compared to Q2 of 2021. Recall that this non-GAAP operating cash generated measurement represents cash generated before debt servicing costs and before deferred rent payback. Looking ahead, we would expect a return to non-GAAP operating cash burn in Q3 as we experience a seasonally strong, softer box office together with working capital pressures relating to the strong Q2 box office. However, we do expect a return to positive non-GAAP operating cash generated in Q4 of this year. Regarding capital allocation, we continue to pursue a balanced and disciplined approach to capital allocation. Our main priorities remain unchanged. 1, ensure that we have sufficient liquidity to manage through the recovery phase of our business. 2, strengthen our balance sheet by reducing our debt and associated interest costs. And 3, investing in our business to enhance the guest experience. And finally, 4, opportunistically pursuing value-enhancing initiatives, including those that lead to diversification and growth of our business. As previously reported, during the quarter, we quietly strengthened our balance sheet by repurchasing through the open market approximately $72.5 million of our 10% second lien subordinated secured notes that are due in 2026. We did this repurchase for approximately $50 million, and this represented a 31% discount to the face value of the debt. As a result of this transaction, we recorded a gain on debt extinguishment this quarter of $39 million, and our annual interest costs will now be reduced by $7.25 million. During the second quarter of 2022, we also strengthened our balance sheet by repaying approximately $53 million of deferred rent, reducing our deferred rent balance to approximately $219 million. Recall that back in March 2021, this deferred rent balance was more than $470 million, and over the last 15 months, we have lowered the deferred rent balance by more than $250 million. We expect to further reduce this deferred rent balance during the second half of 2022 by another approximately $70 million. Actively managing our theater portfolio continues at AMC as we add new high-performing locations and at the same time eliminate low performance, all with the goal of improving guest satisfaction and enhancing our profitability. During the quarter, we added another 12 new theaters and we closed 3. This brings the total number of locations closed since the pandemic began to 98, and the total new locations opened to 45, for a net reduction of 53 locations. And I can tell you that the combined 45 new locations are not only substantially outperforming the 98 closed locations, but they are also nicely exceeding our underwriting expectations. CapEx, net of landlord contributions, was $36 million in the quarter. And for this year, separate and apart from any M&A activity, we expect net CapEx to be in the range of $150 to $200 million. Finally, before handing the webcast back over to Adam, I would like to share with you just how enthusiastic and excited myself and the entire leadership team at AMC is about the groundbreaking special dividend that Adam will now talk about in more detail. Adam.
Thank you, Sean. We'll open up the call to questions in just a few minutes. But before we do that, I'd like to talk about the decisive and bold action we took earlier this afternoon. After months and months of work to get to this announcement, we broke the news in the last hour that we will be issuing a 1-for-1 stock dividend of a new AMC preferred equity unit to our existing common shareholders as of the dividend date of August 19 later this month. This is a major step forward for AMC. In my view, probably the biggest favorable development for our company in all of calendar year 22, both looking back and looking ahead. Looking at the long-term future of our company, we believe this is truly great news for AMC and not such good news for those prophets of doom who may be rooting against us. Indeed, I just spoke with someone I greatly respect at the Wall Street Journal who saw our stock dividend announcement. He told me it was a, quote, genius move, unquote. Somehow I don't think the Journal is going to actually print that, but that is what he said. Earlier this year, I said that AMC intended to take important and bold steps to strengthen our company and to address some of the grievances that many of our shareholders voiced repeatedly in social media and in other forums. I also said, though, that the art form of leading a company is complex and one as much in the spotlight as AMC is knowing what to do and knowing what not to do, knowing when to do it and knowing when not to do it. I commented previously that, in my opinion, we should patiently wait until at least the posting of AMC's second quarter 2022 financial results. I did know, after all, that Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion were coming. Well, we posted those results today, and in our minds, those results are incredibly encouraging as we show dramatically increasing attendance and increasing revenues, along with positive adjusted EBITDA, so very much improved versus the same quarter last year. As I said before on this call, thank you, Tom Cruise. So, as a result, AMC shareholders, I am happy to report to you that today we pounce. With the backdrop of AMC's Q2 favorable earnings in the second quarter, it is now time for us to take decisive and even valorous action. Look up that word in the dictionary, valorous. Today, we announced that later this month, AMC will be creating a new class of securities and will be issuing an AMC preferred equity unit stock dividend payable only to holders of our 516,820,595 issued and outstanding company-issued common shares. This includes all of our U.S. and all of our international shareholders as well. We will issue these new AMC preferred equity units on a one-for-one basis. Investors will get one AMC preferred equity unit for each AMC common share that they own as of the record date in mid-August. Along with our common shares, which trade now and will continue to trade on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol AMC, this new AMC preferred equity unit also will be a tradable security. It also will be listed on the New York Stock Exchange starting on August 22, 2022, under the ticker symbol APE. Yes? APE. APE as in AMC, A, preferred, P, equity, E. APE, APE. And informally, we will now refer to our two New York Stock Exchange listed securities as shares for the common stock and as APEs for the AMC preferred equity units. For a variety of reasons, a dividend distribution in just about any form has been a long-standing request from our investor base. Today, we answered that call. So too, this issuance of 516,820,595 new APEs will essentially serve the same purpose as a much-voiced request for a, quote, share count, unquote, as the new AMC preferred equity units will only go to holders of company-issued and outstanding AMC common shares. Again, today, we answered the call. Because the dividend is only being distributed to our current shareholder base as of the dividend record date, there also is no dilution from this initial issuance of the APEs associated with this stock dividend. Because these new APEs all go and only go to holders of company-issued AMC common shares. The number of issued and outstanding AMC commercial shares will remain unchanged at 516,820,595 after the dividend is paid. But of course, each shareholder also will own one APE for every share of AMC common stock held. So, as of August 22, there also will be another 516,820,595 APEs issued and outstanding. Think of this as being very similar to a 2-for-1 stock split, except that in a stock split, an investor would get 2 shares of new common stock for each one old common share owned. In the AMC case being announced today, however, given that this is a preferred equity stock dividend, an investor would own 1 share and 1 APE in lieu of owning just 1 common share. Since this stock dividend being announced today is like a stock split, it's logical to assume that once a dividend is issued on August 22nd, the price of our common shares will fall. Vitally, however, and I cannot repeat this enough, for each owned share, investors would not own only a single share, but would own instead a share and an APE. So their economic interest in AMC, which is now just 1 share, would instead be the price of a share plus the price of an APE, both of which will trade on the New York Stock Exchange. And while no one's crystal ball can accurately predict stock market swings or volatility, the economic interest that our shareholders will have in both shares and APEs will be in a company that we believe to be considerably stronger than AMC is now prior to this announcement being made this afternoon. The issuance of APEs was made possible given the previously and repeatedly announced approval by AMC shareholders back in 2013 that the creation and issuance of AMC preferred stock could occur solely at the AMC Entertainment Board of Directors' future discretion. While each APE is designed to have the same rights as a common share and can convert into a share of common stock, that conversion decision is still solely up to our shareholders. Conversion can only take place if at a future stockholders meeting, the company proposes and shareholders, including APE holders, vote to approve the authorization of additional common shares. That is still our shareholders' call to make down the road. Or not. It's up to them. But here is probably the most important thing of all in this announcement about the creation of APEs today. With the creation of APEs, AMC is deeply and fundamentally strengthening our company. We already have shareholder approval in hand, such that our board could decide we can issue more APEs in the future above and beyond those going out with this initial dividend. Given the flexibility that being able to issue more APEs will give us, we believe that we would handily be able to raise money, if we so choose, which immensely lessens any survival risk as we continue to work our way through this pandemic to recovery and transformation. Rather than having to worry about survival, the flexibility accruing to us from APEs can instead let us continue our efforts to try instead for AMC to thrive and to soar. This new AMC preferred equity provides AMC with a currency that can be used in the future to further strengthen our balance sheet, including by paying down some of our debt and other liabilities. It also gives us the ability to seek additional shareholder value enhancing and potentially transformative investment opportunities. I believe that all of this makes AMC vastly, and I mean vastly, stronger. And anything that moves AMC so far, carefully read our press releases and our SEC filings on these matters, which are incorporated herein by reference. To celebrate this milestone, APE NFT to all existing AMC Investor Connect members and to new members joining by August 31, 2022. Incidentally, we have some 765,000 people who've joined AMC Investor Connect in the past 13 months. Likewise, based on the popularity of the original I Own AMC NFT that we issued back in January to AMC Investor Connect members, to those who are in AMC Investor Connect or to those who joined by August 31, 2022, they will also be entitled to receive a free updated version of that I Own AMC NFT, Make It Appear. When I think about this pandemic and the journey we have all been on together for the past 2.5 long years, I am ever mindful of our shareholders' dedication to AMC Entertainment, and if I can speak personally for a second, of their trust in me as its CEO. I want everyone listening to this webcast today, or on replay later, to know once again that my every decision and my every action is intended to work for the long-term benefit of all of our shareholders. I act and think like a shareholder because I too am a shareholder, and a big one at that. At the current AMC share price, I now own outright approximately $15 million of AMC stock. And counting in also my previously granted but unvested shares, assuming they vest at so-called target vesting levels. I have more than a $50 million economic stake in AMC. This is pretty obvious stuff, but that is a powerful incentive for me to do what is right for all of our shareholders. All throughout this effort, I've always been candid. I've always tried to keep my word to our shareholders. Always. I promised only a few months ago that we would be bold. And to that end, a few months ago, I promised that at the right time, we would pounce. Well, today, we pounced. Sean, let's move to questions, both from shareholders and from analysts.
Great. Adam, there's a question that just came in, and it reads as follows. It says, I saw in the press release that you said that this 8 dividend will fundamentally strengthen AMC and has tremendous potential to create meaningful value for both AMC and for shareholders. Is this really as big and important as you claim it is?
Thank you for the question, Sean. Well, I didn't put it in the press release if I wouldn't believe it. You know, those lawyers read those press releases pretty carefully, and they make sure that I'm able to back up what I say. But I'm actually going to surprise everybody, and I'm going to say on this call right now, no, it's not as big and as important as I said in the press release. It's bigger, and it's more important than I said in the press release. As I mentioned in my prepared remarks, I think this is the biggest single step forward that AMC is going to take in 2022. It essentially takes near-term survival risk off the table. You can never say never in the world. There are always uncertainties. But I believe that the flexibility that we will get from the creation of this new preferred stock will allow us to raise cash if we need it. It will allow us to reduce our debt. It will allow us to do intriguing M&A opportunities. This is an enormous step forward for AMC. This is very good news for AMC. And we all know there are a lot of people out there in the world who are not rooting for AMC. This is not good news for them.
Thanks, Adam. And there's actually another one that just came in through the Twitter. It's from an international shareholder saying, will international shareholders get the chance to fully participate in this 8th dividend?
The answer to that question is absolutely yes. It's one of the things that we made sure would be the case. You know, one of the things that has bothered me over the past year and a half is that we've gone forward with lots of offers to our shareholders, often through Investor Connect, but often separate and apart from Investor Connect. And often we're giving benefits at our U.S. theaters. That's because we have one IT system across all of our U.S. theaters. You know, we operate in a dozen countries, and we have a different IT system and operate with different brand names all across Europe and the Middle East. It makes it very difficult to make global offers because we can't necessarily program it through all these disparate information systems. In addition to that, with respect to voting rights, there's something that's quite odd to us in the United States, which is many international brokerage firms don't have the capability to facilitate shareholder voting. And so many of our international shareholders feel somewhat either disenfranchised because they're not getting the offers, you know, a free popcorn, a free icy, a free cup of coffee, or early advanced screenings that we've offered to our U.S. Investor Connect members, or they've been deprived of their chance to vote not because we're depriving them, but because their brokers are. And so we made absolutely sure that when we issue this AMC preferred equity unit, it will go into the accounts not only of our U.S. shareholders, but our Canadian shareholders, our European shareholders, and our shareholders scattered all over the world. I've received so many comments on my inbound Twitter feed from so many different countries where we have AMC shareholders. I must say, I enjoy your devotion to our company and appreciate reading your comments to me. So yes, this new APE, this AMC Preferred Equity Unit, will be available to our international shareholders as well.
Adam, I will just read the next question because I think it's quite self-explanatory here. Question says that now that the box office is recovering from the pandemic, how do you see the relationship between streaming, movie theaters, and film studios? How has it all changed compared to before the pandemic? And where do you see things going in the future?
So this is not a new question or a new problem. This whole issue of not streaming necessarily, but Windows and Hollywood studios' commitment to theatrical exhibition has been a live topic really ever since the summer of 2017. And we've been in active dialogue with studios ever since. Nothing really happened to change theatrical exclusivity. With all that discussion in 2017 and 18 and 19, nothing really happened until the pandemic showed up in 2020. And just as theaters were closed, Hollywood could not distribute their movies. And so studio after studio experimented with different releasing strategies of their movies they already in the can, including some other attempts away from theatrical exhibition. Some studios released films only to streaming, some issued movies to streaming and theaters simultaneously, some issued movies to theaters but on a much shorter basis. Well, this experimenting went on for 2 years. But here's what I believe that everybody learned, especially starting with Sony's movie Spider-Man No Way Home that debuted in December of 2021. If you look at what's happened over the past 8 months with Spider-Man and Uncharted and the Batman from Warner Brothers, and then this big range of hits, one after another, Doctor Strange and Top Gun Maverick and Jurassic World Dominion and Elvis and Thor and Minions, Hollywood has realized again how much money can be made by releasing movies in theaters exclusively first. In addition to that, it's kind of well known that the share price of some major streaming companies started to take a hit, and they started to lose subscribers. And there was a lot of speculation that while the market might be big enough to support one streamer or two streamers or maybe even three streamers, how could it support 10 streamers or more? And I believe that you take all this together, and Hollywood is turning away from streaming, Wall Street is turning away from streaming, Hollywood is coming back to theatrical exhibition. We have agreements now in place with every major studio to take their movies that are released in our theaters on a theatrical basis exclusively for a sufficient period of time where we believe the studio and AMC can make money. And if that new window, which is like a month and a half of exclusive theatrical access, if that's too long, we'll be willing to shorten it with studios. And if it's not long enough, we'll be beating down the doors of studios saying to lengthen it. But you take all of it together, I think this is all very good news for AMC. We have a parade of hits on our hands that either started last December or last March or last May, depending on where you want to start. And remember what I said looking forward. It is going to be a pretty tough, slow August, September. So let's not get over our skis in being too optimistic about third quarter numbers. But look at the movies that are coming in the fourth quarter of 2022. It's going to be monster hit after monster hit after monster hit after monster hit. And if you think the box office is big in 2022, it's going to be billions of dollars more in 23 if our current estimates are accurate. So again, we're quite bullish as we look to the future.
Thanks, Adam. Question here from a shareholder and Investor Connect member saying, what are the bonuses and perks that are offered by AMC to its investors?
A lot. Well, the first perk is we all just announced that we announced that you all are getting a stock dividend in a couple of weeks. And by the way, if I can just add to my answer about our international shareholders, you should get one too, but if you don't get one, definitely contact your broker to determine how you should get one, because you're entitled to one. In addition to the new stock dividend that's coming out, we did set up the AMC Investor Connect program. We got more than 750,000 people who've signed up in its first 13 months. That's available to U.S. and international shareholders. One of the benefits of that is frequent communication from us about what's going on. For our U.S. shareholders, look at what we've done and announced through Investor Connect. Some free offers at our concession stands. We've had a new sort of major movie screening every month, almost every month, in advance of its public release. In the world of movie fandom bragging rights, if you can see a big important movie ahead of its general release, that's good bragging rights. We've done that month after month after month. Another fun one for me anyway, is we've announced through Investor Connect that I, as chairman and CEO of AMC, have been hosting movie screenings personally, scattered around the United States, for a chance to watch a movie together with our shareholders. I've done it in 7 cities: LA, New York, Chicago, Kansas City, Dallas, Miami, and Washington, D.C. I'm expecting to do many more in the fourth quarter. And I can announce today with some delight that sometime between September and Christmas, I expect to hold my first overseas investor screening, probably in London, although it's possible we'll go somewhere else in Europe as well. And, at these ones that I attend, I shake every hand in the room. I take a selfie picture with everybody who wants one. I've autographed everything from shirts to I even autographed a banana, one of them. It's a great opportunity to meet our shareholders individually, one-on-one. Been 7 of the happiest evenings I've had all year. We will continue to look for more ways to reward our shareholders, and especially on my plate is to figure out how to get some of these offers that we're routinely making at our U.S. theaters available to our investors overseas as well.
Question, Adam, about our expansion plans. Question says, will we see AMC theaters in Canada, for example, or more expansion within Europe?
Well, in Europe for sure, because as you said in your comments earlier on the call, in the last couple of years we opened 45 theaters. Most of those were in the U.S., but many of those were in Europe. And we keep on signing agreements on attractive pieces of real estate to open new theaters. We just opened a theater a couple of months ago in Finland that's already one of the most successful theaters in Finland. And that's true that we're looking for new opportunities in all the countries that we currently serve. But for us to enter Canada or other countries in Europe where we're not now present, you pick it, the Netherlands, Poland, wherever we may not be, the best way to do it is not go into a country and open a theater or two and be a irrelevant player in that country. The best way to do it would be to acquire something of some size and scale. And prior to today, even though we had, $1 billion of liquidity available to us at the end of this most recent second quarter, being very careful how we spend it and invest it, because we wanted to make sure that our cash position was always strong. With this new preferred stock currency that we now have, we can get much more aggressive on the acquisition front. And so it's conceivable, not definite, there are no current plans, but it's conceivable that we could do some international acquisitions. This is not a new concept to AMC or to me. All during the history of AMC has grown through acquisition. 6 years ago, when I joined AMC, 6.5 years ago, in my first year, we did 3 major acquisitions that took us from being the second largest movie theater chain in the U.S. to the largest movie theater chain in the U.S., the largest movie theater chain in Europe, and the largest movie theater chain in the world. Recently, just in the last year, we bought about a third of the ArcLight Pacific circuit, which did not reopen after the COVID pandemic. And that's going very well so far. The Grove and the Americana theaters in LA, for example, are already 2 of the 30 most highest grossing movie theaters in the entire United States under our management. We just bought 5/8 of the Bowtie Cinema circuit in the Northeast, and that allowed us to double our presence in the state of Connecticut, which is a major bedroom community to New York City, where we have a significant market share. And already the theaters in our Bowtie acquisition are performing about 20% better ahead of the projections we made in our modeling when we went forward with that acquisition. So we know we're doing with acquisitions, we're good at it. Now that we have a new preferred stock currency at our disposal, we'll keep our eyes open on acquisition opportunities as well.
Adam, I have more investor questions, but why don't we take a moment to shift and see if there are any analyst questions at this point?
Absolutely.
Yes, we have a question from the line of Wald with B. Riley Securities. Please go ahead. Your line's open.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Eric Wald. A couple questions. I guess one, obviously the use of this new currency to potentially accelerate the deleveraging of the company and kind of pay down some of the debt that's been taken on in recent years. What, aside from any new actions you may take in terms of major acquisitions or new entities, just the current state of the company, what do you view as the optimal leverage for a company like yours right now, and give your outlook into next year?
Eric, the optimal leverage for our company is a lot less than we're currently leveraged. Throughout the pandemic, we've taken action to reduce debt. You may recall that in July of 2020, we did a sophisticated bond exchange where we traded equity for debt, and we wiped out, by memory, I think it was $555 million of debt with the stroke of a pen. Gone. Similarly, just a few weeks ago, we announced that in the second quarter, or July, I forget the actual day. I know we announced it. I forget the actual day we bought the debt. I think it was in the second quarter. That we bought $72.5 million worth of debt for $50 million, got a 31% discount on that debt. Now, $72 million out of $5 billion is like a drop in the ocean. But being able to get our debt back at a 31% discount, that was certainly a good day for AMC. And just as we did a sophisticated bond exchange in the summer of 2020, if we have debt holders who would like to give us our debt back at a discount in exchange for AMC stock, that is a great trade for our shareholders. Similarly, you all have asked us on previous calls about the deferred rent obligations that we took on with landlords, theater landlords, where we owe rent from calendar year 2020 or 2021, this year, next year, year 2024, and into the future. We've already been in contact with several landlords who said that they wouldn't mind getting paid early, and they wouldn't mind getting paid early at a discount if we could swing it. But we've been very mindful of holding on to our cash hoard, that war chest as I described it, because we wanted to make sure that we were always fundamentally in a strong position with liquidity at our side. But we now have a preferred stock currency that we might be able to use to reduce some of those landlord obligations, again, at a discount. How quickly we can delever, Eric, I don't, this is we're in the first hour of having this new currency at our disposal. So I'm not sure we can give you an exact number, how much debt we can bring down, over the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, is very much in our bailiwick. So it should happen, and we'll be able to report more to you as we ourselves learn more.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam. Congrats.
There are no further questions.
Sorry, operator?
There are no further questions from the analysts.
Right, we're going to go back to Sean. Do you have any last ones from our shareholder base?
Yes, I do. Let me take a quick look here. There is a question here. I think I'll just cover 3 more quick questions from the shareholders. There's a question here about Highcroft, and what is your timeline for the investment, and are there any anticipated interactions between Highcroft and AMC?
So in terms of Highcroft, I am so convinced that when the story is finally written, this is going to be a good one for AMC. I put out a kind of macho tweet a few months back that said, when the dust all settles, there'll be a lot of crow eating about the Highcroft investment. I wasn't going to be the one eating crow. I still believe that to be the case, in part because Highcroft has raised all the cash it needs to stay in business for years and years and years. Second, in terms of our interaction with Highcroft, I hear that Highcroft has picked up a very smart new member of its board of directors. That would be you, Sean, because Sean Goodman, our CFO, is now a member of the Highcroft board. But third, one of the things that was so intriguing about Highcroft is it operates on 71,000 acres of land in northern Nevada that's mineral rich, and it had only explored in the 40 years it was around 2% of its 71,000 acres. Gold and silver doesn't just exist in a small place. It spreads. Highcroft just announced, in part because of the cash, not in part, because of the cash that we enabled it to raise. Highcroft just announced that it's starting the biggest exploration program of more of its land than it has done in a decade. And while we won't know what the results of that exploration will be until they do it, you and I are hopeful that they will find a lot more mineral reserves that should be quite lucrative. As far as the timeline for the investment, we got in at a great low market price. We got an amount of warrants in the same quantity as the number of shares that we bought. So we basically double our economics without having to put up double the cash. And when we went into Highcroft, we didn't do it for a 90-day hit. If we wanted to do a 30-day or 90-day hit, we could have doubled our money in a couple of weeks. But that's not why we entered into the Hycroft investment. We think there's much more there ahead of it for us. And so I think our timeline with Hycroft is sort of like a private equity firm. Hold it for 2 to 7 years and see what kind of value we can create for AMC shareholders. Sometime in that timeline is when I would expect, we know we got in, that's when I would expect we would get out, some number of years from now.
And a question here about AMC's growth initiatives. Person says, I'm particularly interested in branded merchandise, retail popcorn, credit card, NFTs, and alternative content.
I tried to mention it in my prepared remarks, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to say quickly that we're making progress on each of these fronts. I gave some timing in my earlier comments. I think whether it's our popcorn business, our credit card business, our merchandise business, you're going to see increasing activity beginning in the second half of this year and the first half of next year on all fronts.
And the final question that I will ask this afternoon is investors are asking for an update on our green initiatives.
So, the buzzword in the corporate world these days is ESG, and the E stands for environment. And with good reason, many of us are quite concerned about what's happening to the climate on this planet. Here in the Midwest of the United States, it was over 100 degrees for a lot of time over the last few weeks. That's hot. And it would behoove all of us to respect our planet if we'd like our kids and our grandkids to have a planet to live on. The laser projection announcement that we made is not a small announcement. It represents putting in $250 million of new projectors into our theaters. And the benefits are numerous. One, of course, is that for moviegoing, it's going to make for much better moviegoing. It increases the light levels on screen by 50 to 100%, makes the pictures brighter, sharper, clearer, crisper. Moviegoers are going to love it. But environmentalists should like it too, because laser projectors consume far less electricity, and we have thousands of them, and they operate, half the day, 24/7. Or not 24/7, but 7 days a week. And they take a lot less energy. And a little known factor of our current 10-year-old projection technology is that they use halogen bulbs. And halogen bulbs burn out. And they burn out often. And so they need to be replaced, which happens to be expensive. And laser lights don't burn out anytime as quickly as halogen bulbs. But once you have a burned out halogen bulb, guess what you do with it? You put it in a landfill, and I think I'm told it has a half-life of about 5 trillion years. That's not really true. But the point is not having to discard, it is true that they got a long half-life. It's just not 5 trillion years. But not having to discard halogen bulbs is very good for the planet. We consume less energy. It's an expensive step for AMC, but it's a good one environmentally, and it's a good one for moviegoers. So I think you said that was your last question, and I'm going to wrap.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wrap. To all of you listening today, thank you for your affection and your passion for AMC Entertainment. We've been listening to all the things you've been telling us for the last year and a half. We've taken a lot of actions that reflect your thinking. And we took one today with the creation of apes that will trade on the New York Stock Exchange in just a few weeks. under the symbol APE. It's an enormous positive step for AMC. We're thrilled that we're doing it. We think you should be thrilled that we're doing it. Over the long haul, we know that this company will benefit. And so this is a very good day at AMC because today we did pounce. Thank you, one and all. We're signing off.
That does conclude the call for today. We thank you for your participation. I ask that you please disconnect your line.
Wow, that was a lot to take in, wasn't it? All right, let's talk about Hycroft real quick. If you read in the 10Q, go search for fair value determination. AMC has determined that they want to use the equity method for valuing their investment in Hycroft, which is held in common stock and warrants. So the value that AMC is reporting on our income statement is solely dependent on the price of HYMC stock. That's what that means in English. HYMC stock is suppressed right now because despite what you're hearing from the hopium addicts on Twitter, the company is not really generating any meaningful revenue or mining. When that happens in 2024 or later, when they're done doing all this exploring, if they find deposits and mine it and pull it out of the ground and start generating revenue and don't dilute the fuck out of HYMC in the meantime, and the price of HYMC goes up, AMC will report increased investment income on the income statement, and that will directly bump up earnings per share. All right, it's that simple. HYMC price low, bad for our income statement. HYMC price high, bonus to the income statement and the earnings per share. So maybe we just all need to get together and buy HYMC the day before the quarter ends and bump the price up. That will affect AMC's earnings per share. Well, how do I know that? Because there was a 60 million plus earnings per share bump from HYMC being at $3. And this quarter, we had negative 56 million or something because HYMC at the end of last quarter was $1 and change. So I mean, yes, the price of Hycroft will affect AMC's earnings per share. That's the simple way to look at it. Nothing's going to happen with Hycroft as far as I know. I'm going to go listen to Boss Blunt's and Pantheon's interview, but from everything I've studied on it, and I've done a lot, until they start mining and converting ore that they've pulled out into something they can sell, it's going to be a couple of years, guys. You heard Adam say 2 to 7 years. I've been saying since March 2024 or later, and the guys that are bag holding Hycroft at $3 hate me. Now, I don't know if they're just dumb or they don't want to admit I'm right, but you heard it again, and Diane Garrett said it herself, and it's in every document they publish. This is not me being a shill or hating on Hycroft. I'm just giving you the facts. Now, if they are able to find some ore and pull it out in 2023, that's a bonus. But the plan right now is 2024 or later. As far as this special APE dividend, I'm reading about it at the same time you guys are. I think it looks like it's going to be initially valued at 1/100th the price of a share of stock. And that's no dilution because it's trading under a separate ticker. So nothing's going to change. I know there's wording in there that says the price of the stock might go down because of the issuance of a dividend. I can tell you from experience that is the same language in any dividend issuance document. You will find that. You could Google that exact words and find it 1,000 times. If AMC was to issue a 50-cent dividend cash, the day that dividend is issued, the stock price would go down 50 cents. That's just a fact. That's how it works. But this is not a cash dividend. It's something worth 1/100th, I think, the price of a share of stock. So it's going to be a nominal, if not even noticeable effect when it's issued. Now, potentially those dividends, the APE dividends, the APE ticker symbol, can be converted to a share of common stock, but they don't have any stock to issue to cover that. So we would have to vote as shareholders to approve additional shares in their bank, AMC's bank of available shares, to allow us to convert it into shares. Now that's up to us. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of discussion about that. When and if you did that, you are potentially diluting the float by double. You would double the float in essence. And I would expect that the price of AMC could potentially drop in half if that vote was approved. Maybe not overnight, but as those shares are converted and the float increases, there would be a dilutive effect to the price of the stock. So that's just something to think about. We'll all talk about it. There's going to be a lot of discussion. I'm just giving you my initial thoughts. I'm not an expert. Could be wrong. But this is what I think. Really, the interesting thing is when a dividend like this is issued and it only goes to the shareholder of record, right? What is a shareholder of record? If you have a cash account, you have a real share. All this nonsense about synthetics, yada, yada, yada. Let's talk about that for a second. If you have a cash account and you have a share, you own a real share. If you have a margin account and you have 1,000 shares in there, some of your shares might be loaned out to somebody, rehypothecated by your broker. Or if you have share lending, if you have a cash account on Webull or somewhere and you have share lending turned on against your knowledge, go check that. If your shares are loaned out, you hold the synthetic. The person who they loaned it to has the real share. You gave up your right to a dividend when your share got loaned out. So you will not get the dividend if your share has been loaned out. If there's a short, the lender is owed the dividend by the short. And a short will not be able to get that dividend. So how do they pay it back when they pay back their short? Let's talk about that. But just my initial top of mind thoughts. They have two ways to pay it back. They go buy it on the open market at fair market value if one of you is willing to sell it. Now, if you're not willing to sell it, that's going to drive the price up, right? They'll drive the price up till they find someone willing to sell. The short will have to go buy that dividend on the open market and then return it for every one share that they've borrowed. That's one way they could pay it back. The other thing I could think of is if a payment in cash in lieu of that dividend is acceptable to the lender. I don't know the answer to that right now, but that's something I'm going to look into. So we don't have all the answers. Whatever anyone's saying today, just take it with a grain of salt. We'll figure it out. We're going to need a few days to put big brains together and figure it out. But yes, there will be some exposure of people who don't get this dividend because their shares got rehypothecated. And there will be, I don't know how it works. Is it in effect the same as a share count? Yeah, I guess you could say that, but that's like, to me, that's almost like fake words. Like, it's not like 516 million of us are going to get together and compare notes. We just don't have that kind of communication network. Philip says, if your shares are loaned out, the entity that borrowed your shares owes you the dividend. Yeah, but all right. It's been a long day. Maybe I should just stop talking before I say something incorrect. Yes, if your shares are loaned, if your shares are loaned out, you lose the right to vote, right? If your shares are loaned out, when is it that you get the payment in lieu of dividend? That's if your shares are loaned out. If it was a cash dividend, your broker is going to send you a payment in lieu of dividend. All right. I need to, I've been working since early doors this morning. I need to collect my thoughts and make sure I don't say something incorrect. It's a lot to take in, guys. I don't want to, I'll put a video out on it maybe tomorrow when I've had time to sit down and rest my brain and make sure I'm giving you the right information. At any rate, somebody's going to be fucked. What does that mean? Like, is this going to cause a mad rush for shorts to cover? I don't know. We didn't see a bunch of covering going on in after hours, so the initial reaction is no. If there was a mad rush to cover because they're worried about this, you'll see it between now and August 25th. I'll go look for any other, I'll spend the next day or so looking for any other, if I can find any other examples. Someone said BBIG, I don't know. I'll see if there's any other examples of some sort of preferred shared dividend like this. That's something we can look at. That's what I did with GameStop to convince myself that nothing was going to happen with GameStop. I found numerous other examples where nothing happened. So that's something I'll be looking for. I'll be digging through the archives of the past few years to see if this has ever been done before. No matter what anyone says, if we can find other examples, that's the most likely outcome, right? If you know of one, if you find one, if you want to help me research, and you find something with similar wording, feel free to DM me on Twitter. That would be a big help. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off for the end of the day. And again, I'm going to implore you, take everything tonight with a grain of salt. I think this is exciting news. It's definitely something you don't see every day. We all get to learn together exactly what this is going to mean. It's not bad news. It's not dilution. And maybe there is a gold nugget at the end of this investigation while we all figure this out. The share price didn't really drop a whole lot. It's at $16.97. Maybe Wall Street experts already knew exactly what it meant, or maybe they're taking a day to figure it out too. I don't know. I don't remember hearing about stuff like this very often. What time tonight will you be live? Tomorrow morning, I'll be live covering MEGL, our new love, Meg. We got no idea what's going to happen with Meg tomorrow, but I know many of you pre-reserved it. I guess we'll find out in the morning. If you pre-reserved on Webull told me that we'll find out in the morning if we got an allocation and how much they're going to give us. If you pre-reserved, just remember there's no guarantee they're going to give you shares. But maybe you'll wake up and you'll have some. I'll let you know as soon as I know if I got some. And then we'll just see what happens. If you want the more bullish case than that this is going to $2,000, check out Teddy Zane. I'm going to give you the more level-headed approach. I bought some but I don't know what's going to happen. But it's a lottery ticket gamble play for me. And if it runs up, that's a nice little sweetener bonus for the old portfolio for the week. For those of you who don't have a Webull account or didn't have money in it, you'll be able to buy in the U.S. on NASDAQ with any broker that can purchase on NASDAQ. At some point tomorrow morning when the ticker starts trading, you'll be able to buy it. I would expect that'll be around 10:30 Eastern. Is Pantheon in the chat? I see Liz. Liz said Pantheon's name. There he is, Pantheon. Yeah, if you're around Pantheon, maybe we can put our heads together for a second after I end this stream. I can Discord you and just see what your initial thoughts of this are. And then I'm going to need a day to go dig into it some more also. But we need to get the big brains talking about this and try and figure it out, because I doubt many of us have seen this before. I certainly have not. And I'm not going to make a video on it tonight. Not because I'm not excited about it. I just don't want to rush out information that I got to go correct in a later video. Guys, if you still have energy for the day, go check out Pantheon or Boss Blunt's channel. Go watch the Diane Garrett interview. I think that'll be an excellent second step. You know, I did one in March. If you haven't seen that one, go watch that, and go watch this one. This is the next level. This is from the CEO's mouth. The next level of due diligence for your understanding exactly what is going on with Highcroft Mining. And I'm going to go look at that myself now that we're wrapping up this day. As far as live stream tonight, Scarlett is working tonight. I just heard her leave, I think. So who knows? Who knows if I'll turn up later tonight just to clink some glasses with you guys. We're not going to do anything serious tonight. We already did that last night for 4 hours. So let me go recharge the batteries, see if Pantheon's willing to have a quick chat. Pantheon, I don't want to spend an hour chatting, but if you got 5 minutes, let's have a quick talk. And again, guys, if any of you can find any other incidents using the exact same wording that AMC did for this special dividend, please DM them to me on Twitter and help me shorten my cycle of investigation. With that, MMAT might be one. I'll take a look. Thank you for that. Maybe I got that confused. Maybe someone said MMAT earlier instead of BBIG. So I'll take a look at MMAT. Oh, man, what a day. Long day, good day. Not what we wanted to hear on revenue side. I'm a little shocked. I was being a little generous, to be honest, in the revenue estimate. What did I said 1357, and to be fair, I thought that was a little high, but I was not expecting 1160. I thought maybe 1300 reality. I was being generous saying 1357. 1165, I'm going to need to understand the why on that. That does not compute with me. But the good news out of today's earnings is that the earnings per share did get better from Q4. So we're still on the right trajectory. We still got a lot of good things going, and maybe we get even more good things going with this ape dividend, and we will keep you posted as we figure it out. Pantheon says KC and I are ready to have that 10-minute chat. All right. I'm going to sign off, guys, and go chat with KC and Pantheon. Thank you for hanging out all day today with me. I will see y'all bright and early in the morning, and let's go make some money.